Karina Weinstein, and I'm the Director of Sustainability and Climate Change at FXB Global, and I lead the FXB Climate Advocates Program. So I'm a refugee from the former Soviet Union, and when I moved to New York as a child, I grew up in an immigrant community in a very urban area, concrete jungle, and honestly, I didn't think climate change had anything to do with me. I lived in a high-rise building, there's a lot of concrete, big city, and as far as I learned in school at the time, what I knew about climate change were polar bears and melting glaciers, which were really distant to me. I only thought climate change was just about the natural world and didn't really connect to people in cities and immigrant communities. I'm a mom of two school-aged children who both have pretty severe respiratory issues, who both suffered from childhood asthma, who both have respiratory problems when there are longer allergy seasons. So when I work with youth climate advocates from around the world in my job in FXB Climate Advocates, and as I started to dig deeper, I learned about the intersection of climate and health. It was something I had never learned about in school or even university or even in my graduate program in public policy, how climate change is impacting human health. But unfortunately, I experienced it firsthand. So there's a pretty high rate of childhood asthma in the United States. And we know that the burning of fossil fuels causes air pollution and really makes it, it contributes or exacerbates childhood asthma, which is really debilitating and really problematic for young children. And as a parent, trying to provide that care and making sure that your children are well is your primary concern. Also, something that most people don't know about, so allergy seasons, right? Like spring is allergy time, right? Or allergy season, and you kind of know to prepare. Well, every year the allergy season shifts and it gets longer and longer. And you don't think allergies could be that big of a deal, but actually, last year, my youngest child missed maybe like 25 days of school just from the respiratory problems resulting from those longer allergy seasons. Something that probably a lot of people don't know about is how underprepared the healthcare system is to deal with climate impacts. I've had numerous emergency room visits for breathing issues with my children, all kinds of specialist visits, and no one ever warned me, hey, now allergy season starts in February, not in May. You should prepare. Here are ways to prepare your child to become more resilient. I look at my children, and unfortunately, climate change, extreme heat. My children used to go to an outdoor day camp. That's really no longer possible for a child with respiratory issues when it's 104 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It's just not safe for him to be outside. They can't spend the time outdoors that we need, children or young people, all of us need for our mental health and to develop that connection to nature. I mean, those are kind of all add up that make life really, really uncomfortable. For a long time, health was pretty absent in the global climate policy discussions. As of last COP, there's really been more or significant movement towards placing it at the agenda. There was a health pavilion. There was the first actually health day at COP last year. This year at COP, there were some really great events and sessions focusing on climate and health in the health pavilion. So it's definitely gaining traction because I think, when you talk about water, access to water, food, vector-borne diseases, extreme heat, it's just showing up. The impact on health is so palpable and showing up in so many different ways. So it's kind of impossible to ignore. But it's definitely, there's much more work to be done, but it is definitely growing in terms of its attention and pressing need to discuss it, to have the evidence behind it, and then of course, to build the capacities of all the different actors in the health field to address it. The most important thing is climate education and building the capacity of young people. And since I lead the FXB Climate Advocates Program that provides climate education, so climate science, climate solutions, and then deep dives into energy, sustainable consumption, and health. And the reason we purposefully included health because we knew this is the area where we need young people to be climate and health advocates. So my kind of concrete action is to ensure that the young people who go through our program and anyone one we can address is really to build their capacity to understand how climate change impacts human health, all the different ways, and of course empower them with the resources and the tools to take action, whether it's ensuring there's clean water or helping people prepare for disasters, right? So they're not in flood areas where then mosquito-borne diseases are. Of course, extreme heat, identifying innovative ways for cooling centers and things like that. So that's really the action that I'm taking, kind of building that capacity in young people so they can be climate and health advocates around the world.